Oh, okay. I didn't bring a gavel down. You need it?
Eventually, probably. All right, seeing that we're past the 5:30 hour, we'll call this meeting to order. Special Executive Committee, there's no minutes to have on the agenda, so our only order of business is a resolution loan with Natural Fiber Welding for NFW's equipment and real estate purchase. Is there a motion to put this on the floor? Member Blair, Member Coates. Administrator Sorrell.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a project that we talked to you about as an informational item a couple weeks ago. Everybody should have at their desk the NFW's impact report dated of February of this year. That's a takeaway for you that gives you just a little bit more information about the company. And to go into a little bit of detail, NFW is how the company is referred to now, but it originally was Natural Fiber Welding. Natural Fiber Welding is the outcome of the process, or it was the process of the company's first product, where they are able to take, using chemistry, natural fibers, say like cotton, for example, and weld them together in such a way that they have the same performance characteristics as a synthetic or a plastic-based fiber. And that really is kind of the genesis of the company, and that's because the company has a goal of creating a naturally circular, low-carbon supply chain. Very early on, the county had an opportunity to invest in natural fiber welding, but for a variety of reasons, the county board at that time chose not to. Since that time, NFW has continued to mature as a Peoria-based company, and to the point today where they actually have numerous patents and have 4 product lines. All those product lines somehow disrupt the traditional textile market. Some of them are molded, some of them are fibers, some of them are sheet goods. But all of them are completely natural and plastic-free, which is a key tenet of the company's DNA. Where we're at today with NFW is they've been able to commercialize their products, and they're at the point where they need to scale those products. And they partner with and supply materials to at least 24 different companies that are all either national or global companies. And for them to take the next step where they can produce their products at large scale, they require equipment. And so the recommendation before you is a loan to NFW that would allow them to achieve that scalability by buying equipment. Additionally, if there were any loan proceeds left over, and if the opportunity presented itself, in a secondary use of the loan would be to go towards property acquisition of any one of their current sites here in the Peoria area, which they have 4 properties that they operate out of. First is their corporate headquarters and research and development facility on North Galena Road. Second is kind of a small production type of facility in the old Shopco building at the corner of Pioneer Parkway and Allen Road. They have some office space in the warehouse district, and then their manufacturing facilities on Southwest Jefferson across from the ballpark. And that's the building where the equipment that they seek to purchase will be placed. It's in the agenda briefing, but just for the benefit of everybody, the deal flow that's recommended here is we have a funding stack that totals $6.5 million. Owner equity of that is $3.5 million, and then our loan would be $3 million, and then there's no traditional commercial financing or lending in the stack. Loan structure would be a line of credit. They intend to purchase multiple pieces of equipment with that, but they're going to be delivered at different times, and payments to the equipment manufacturers are going to be staggered as well. So the thought process is to do a line of credit. The term is 10 years. Payment structure is interest only for the first 5 years, and then the back half will be all of the principal plus the interest. Interest rate is 5.5%. That's calculated under our loan policy as the Wall Street Journal's published prime rate minus 3%. At the time that we wrote up the agenda briefing, the Journal's published rate had been hovering at 8.5% for several weeks. So 8.5% minus 3% equals 5.5%. The security for the loan will be a first position on any of the equipment that they're going to be purchasing with the loan proceeds, and position on any real estate that would be acquired. As we went through the process, there was some discussion about how the line of credit might work. Could it be used as, say, a credit card, or would it be just one-time purchases? And where we settled on, what we're recommending is that it would be for those first purchases of the equipment. If there were future needs, then they could come back and ask for a second loan from the county. How are we going to fund this loan? We're going to use our County State Capital Improvement Fund, otherwise known as our Keystone Fund. For the benefit of all, this is a special revenue fund that has a restricted use to it. It can only be used for economic development purposes, and that's because the source of the Keystone Fund were 4 grants received from the state of Illinois, each being $2.5 million for a total of $10 million, where we gave a forgivable loan to then Keystone Steel and Wire, now Liberty Steel. It did not prevent Keystone from going into bankruptcy, but they did emerge from bankruptcy stronger, and they actually paid the loan back early and in full. And therefore, we have a nice little bucket of economic development dollars to use for purposes such as this. You note in the fiscal impact section of the agenda briefing, this will not have a significant impact on reserves or interest income being earned. And again, it comes from a dedicated source, so no general fund dollars will be put towards the project. Just at a really high level, this ties very well into the regional and intergovernmental collaboration strategic priority in our strategic plan, which under that priority the purpose is to continue to promote regional collaboration efforts, acting as a convener and thought leader, fostering solutions that lead to a flourishing, vibrant, and growing economy. In the moment, I'm going to let Member Blair speak. Member Blair chairs our Internal Loan Review Committee. It is comprised of a number of different individuals, broad cross-section, and for any loan to make it this far, it has to receive the endorsement of the Internal Loan Review Committee. So, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to let Member Blair talk a little bit about the Loan Review Committee and their actions, and then I'll be happy to answer any questions once she's done.
So just a reminder for those of you who are at the last executive committee, I have actually chaired the Loan Review Committee for over a decade, long before I became a county board member. The committee never dissolved, so I've just been chair of it, although it's been inactive for quite a while. The purpose of the Loan Review Committee is to be able to see proprietary information as well as confidential financial statements so that we can make an informed decision as to whether this makes sense to invest in or not, and not have that come up in a public meeting. So my committee did have the audited financials as well as a long conversation with NFW, and we feel very comfortable that this would be a good use of those funds. Personally, it's been killing me that the Keystone funds have just been sitting there looking pretty on our balance sheet and not being invested in our community, and I think this is a great use of those funds. I can never guarantee a zero risk, right? But I do feel like there's lots of ways that we can mitigate this risk, and one is that we have first position on the equipment and any possible land purchases they make with that, so that we can recoup some of our losses if the worst were to happen, which I don't believe will.
Thank you, Member Blair. And I do want to recognize Steve Zika is here, president of NFW. So if there is any questions that need to be addressed, but I appreciate you coming to the meeting tonight. Are there questions of the committee? Scott? Member Rosenbaum.
On prior loans that we did, there was always a bank involved in it, and it's never just the county and the applicant, and I know this one's different. If that could be explained, I don't have a problem with it. I was just curious.
Sure. Great question, Mr. Rosenbaum. So, correct. This is maybe the second or third deal that we've done, and we've done over the life, if you include the GAP loan program, dozens upon dozens of loans, and this might be maybe the second or third where we've not had a traditional commercial lender in the deal flow or part of the financing stack. In this instance, it was the company's desire to structure it that way. They also are transitioning from leasing equipment to purchasing equipment in the very early days of the company. They had to lease equipment at unfavorable terms, and that had an impact on the company's financials. Additionally, and so they look to transition away from that. And they've started that transition. This will continue that transition. Additionally, part of this project is also to manage the cash flow and the cash burn of the company as they continue to grow and evolve and move from commercialization of their products up to high volume manufacture of those products. So once those things occur and they're able to actually produce at large quantities, there are a couple of contracts that I would characterize as pending. I don't know if Steve would characterize them as that, but that's how I would maybe characterize them, that have the opportunity to drastically change the cash position of NFW to the good.
May I make a comment? This deal does not have any other debt financing, but we will note that they have had multiple rounds of equity financing where people have invested for an ownership stake. So there is a lot of people who believe in what they're doing and have invested.
Member Ricker.
Yeah, just a comment of support. I will be supporting this. I think, there's never an investment that's without risk, but this is a local growing business here that's shown its worth and value at this point to move along. We need to help them, or they need some assistance to scale up, to grow that business. And so, as Member Blair brought up earlier, we have the funds for this purpose. It's not without risk. but I'm, as one board member, willing to take that risk and see if we can help grow the economy. And typically with any company that has additional employees, there's other associated business. It's a 3-to-1 type number that you gain some other growth. So not only the growth of their business, but we should see some side businesses that would be growing along with them. That's all the comments I have. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Mr. Chairman, if there's, Mr. Rosenbaum has his hand. When he's done, I do have an additional data point that Mr. Ricker just reminded me of that I neglected to share, but
Okay.
I'll defer to Mr. Rosenbaum.
Member Rosenbaum.
I just want to also add that they're a very environmental company. I've worked with them a little bit in past on experimenting on stuff, and the very environmental background on them with their products that they're making and so forth. So along with everything that Mr. Ricker said, I think it'd be good for the community as a whole for the other part. Thank you.
The data point that I neglected to talk about during my summary of the item was job retention and creation, which actually is very important because our loan programs require the business to create or retain full-time equivalent positions. NFW currently has roughly 190 employees corporate-wide. The overwhelming majority of those are based here in Peoria, but they do have employees throughout the globe, as many of their partners are global companies. The proceeds from the loan will generate an additional 40 full-time equivalent positions for the company. And of that total, half are going to come from either low or moderate income households, largely from the core neighborhoods in Peoria, so the 61602, 03, 04, and 05 zip codes. And those jobs will be created over the next 48 months or less.
Thank you, Mr. Sorrell. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it unanimously. Next up, public comment. Seeing none, miscellaneous. Meeting adjourned.